Hey apprentices, what's going on? It's Ben Kennon coming back at you with another one take video. Part of that series we're going from whatever, you guys know the deal by now. So today I'm going to be talking about LLCs and a quick little disclaimer, little disclosure for you guys. Obviously I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a CPA, I don't have any certificates in business insurance as far as I'm aware. So take this with a grain of salt. I'm just walking you through the process that I went through, some of the questions that I had. So pretty cut and dry, pretty boring, but these are very, very important business fundamentals that you guys need to know in order to set up your proper business, okay? And there's three different things for that. It's setting up the LLC, setting up the bank account, and getting some insurance, all right? And we're gonna be talking about all of those today. So let's go ahead and hop into my internet. All right, guys, so here in my internet browser, I'm going to be talking to you guys, like I said, on how to form an LLC. Now, it's not like it was back in the day. You don't have to go to some fancy corporate regional office. You don't have to fill out any sort of crazy paperwork. You don't have to do anything like that. This process literally took me about 5 minutes to do online. There's a couple of different services you can go through. I just prefer Rocket Lawyer because I've been using them in the past. I have a couple rental properties that I use Rocket Lawyer for. However, you can use whatever you want. There's a couple other different places, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys with Rocket Lawyer. Now, an LLC is a very easy thing to set up. It's basically a limited liability company, and what it does is it separates the business owner from the business. So if somebody were to come at you and say come at you and sue you, they'd actually be suing your business. They wouldn't be able to come after you for any sort of personal damages, which is great because it separates everything, right? And I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to legally set it all up, and we'll create a little bit of a fictitious company together today. So the first thing you have is a state of incorporation. This is basically the state that you're going to be incorporated in, right? So there's a couple different states that I would recommend. I would recommend either Delaware or Nevada for tax purposes. There's a lot of different taxing that's involved in this, and they seem to have the lowest tax brackets, okay? Now, I did choose Delaware just because it's so popular and everybody does it, and again, it's just social proof. So I did go ahead and go with Delaware, so we're going to go ahead and find Delaware here, and the business type, we're setting up an LLC. We're not going to get into anything fancy like an S Corp or a C Corp. Now, the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is enter in your contact information. And the second thing we're going to go ahead and do is enter in your business address. Now, there's a couple of different things you can do. If you're going to be working out of your home, you can set up your home address. However, you can also get an address in the state that you're incorporating in. And I would actually recommend doing that for a couple different reasons, mainly just so people don't know exactly where you are. But if you're a beginner and you don't really care too much, or you don't foresee that as being a problem, go ahead and use your home address. So we're going to go ahead and type in some fictitious address right now. And the state that it is going to be in does not have to be the state that's incorporated in. That's another little side note. Okay. Walking through these steps with you guys real quick. Now we're going to go and create the company's name, and there's a couple of different things that I would recommend. I would actually recommend setting up something like a holding company or a ventures, like a capital company. A couple different reasons for that is because if you are doing online retail and you're selling expo markers, dolphins, and that's your title, expo markers, dolphins, whatever, off the top of my head, then you don't want to necessarily do like Expo Dolphins LLC. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to do that. The reason being is because it's going to limit you for things like loans and whatnot. Now, because if you want to buy real estate underneath this company or another business underneath this company, they're going to look at this and be like, you're an online retail store. Why are you, getting into retail, or into real estate? So what I would recommend is actually creating something like a holdings company, something generic and something with 3 letters, and then like a name, or just like a noun, right? So for this example, you can use your initials. In my instance, it'd be BCK. So we can do BCK Ventures, and company will be doing, in this case, since we are doing a Shopify, it'd be just online retail. It's like your industry, retail, and you'd be the primary contact. All right. Are there any additional members of your LLC you'd like to identify? In this case, there would be no. If you guys are setting up some sort of partnership or you have other people you want to bring on, you would hit yes and then you would enter in their information. Now, there's a couple different things you want to do. If you guys are in a rush and you want to get this before the tax season starts back up in January, you can put a rush on filing this. When I first originally created my LLC, I did not. So go ahead and hit no rush or hit rush, just whatever you want to be. Now, for the tax ID, this is what you need in order to set up all of your bank accounts and whatnot. I would strongly suggest that you would actually have the company doing this for you, the Rocket Lawyer, because it can be really, really hard to track down. Nothing with government's very, very easy, and I'm sure you guys know that. So I would strongly recommend just paying the $60, just taking that hit and having the tax ID sent to you. Now, go ahead and enter in your social security number, and I want to see if I can go to make one up. Yeah, let's see if I can. Cool. All right. Now, this is the kind of a cool thing here. A couple of different things about this. This is going to be your articles of incorporation, basically kind of just the documentation that you have. Now, I was on a budget when I was first doing this. Obviously, you can see that this costs $100. It's pretty cool. I mean, if you want this, you want to be, a fancy, flashy business owner, you can go ahead and put this on your bookshelf or, have in front of your mantle or whatever, just to kind of impress people, show off a little bit. For me, I did not do this, and the reason I did not do this is because you can always go back and order this. So for now, I went ahead and hit no thanks, but if you guys have the extra $100 laying around, it's kind of a cool, neat little thing. Now, what's cool about this is I actually did call Rocket Lawyer on this step because I was wondering how this works. Now, basically, if you're setting it up in a different state, you need a point of contact in that state, which is called a registered agent service, okay? Now, I went ahead and I did do the processing service only, which basically you pay like $150 up front, and there's like a reoccurring revenue or reoccurring debit that goes out once a year. And what that does, it keeps that point of contact and also gets you a little bit of services, like you have contacts to lawyers, accountants, things of that nature. So this is required. You need a registered agent. And another little disclaimer here, I know I said it at the beginning, but I am not by any means a lawyer, have any sort of legal certificates or documentation. I'm just, kind of showing you guys what I did and what I would recommend here. So take it as you will. Definitely not advice, but just kind of, documenting my process. So that's what I did. I went ahead and hit continue. Okay, now this is pretty much the same thing. Make Rocket Lawyer my registered agent. I strongly recommend that. Now here is going to be all of the information, and once that is set up, that's pretty much it, guys. And as you can see, this is kind of the breakdown of the total cost. So it cost me about $400 in order to do this. Now, basically you pay for this and that's literally it. I mean, setting up the LLC, like I said, I think that took us maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Super, super easy process. And once you have all that information taken care of, they're actually gonna send you a little packet. Let me see if I can find it. Cool. So this is a little packet from Rocket Lawyer. It's basically going to be your articles of incorporation, and they're also going to have you do something online, which is called a operating agreement. Basically, just designating the responsibilities of everybody in your business. And if you're going to be the only person, then basically you're just talking about yourself. But if you do have employees and whatnot, then you need that in your operating agreement. Basically for internal use, but the IRS and things like that, from my understanding, can come and take a look at that. So that's pretty much all you have for this. Now, the one thing I want to go ahead and just backtrack on a little bit is that tax EIN number. You really need that EIN number. And this whole process, I believe it took me less than a week to get all this information back. So once I paid the $400, I waited about 6 days, got the EIN number, and then you want to set up your bank account, okay? Because again, we were separating personal and the business. You definitely need those separate. So I went ahead and I looked into a couple of different banks. You can choose Chase or Bank of America. Those are the two top recommended for banking. I mean, it's completely up to you guys. It really, there's not too much of a difference, to be honest with you. And what I did is actually went inside the branch. I spoke with a personal banker and they set everything up for me. Now, one thing is what they do is all electronic, right? So they're going to go ahead and, find you your LLC online. and you need the documentation, you need your social security number, you need your tax ID number and whatnot. But once they find you online, it's a little bit tricky because I'm incorporated in Delaware and I do live in Arizona. So they actually had to go into the Delaware database and then do some little bit of digging. She actually got her manager, and it was just this kind of weird little process. But once they got that all figured out, it was pretty smooth from there. The only thing that I can really think of is the credit card, and I did not know this. Now, it's very important to, from my understanding, to set up your credit score, because your business has a separate credit score than you. However, it does qualify off of you. Okay, so if you have a, like a 400 credit score, which is pretty terrible, right? Your business is probably not going to be approved for too much credit, and it is going to be an inquiry on your credit. So make sure everything's clear before you set that up. I would strongly recommend getting one right off the bat though, because you want to get everything taken care of. And one question that I did have with Shopify when I was first starting is how the payments worked. I wasn't sure if, the customer's money came in. So say I'm doing the free plus shipping again, the $15 came in, and then you pay $10 for the product in my case, right? So you have $5 profit. I wasn't sure if that gets debited to your account and then AliExpress takes it out of your account, which they actually don't. It's separate. So basically, they're taking it from your bank account, your actual bank account, not like your little Shopify thing. So basically, you have two little lanes of traffic. So you have money coming in through Shopify, so the $15 coming in, and then when you order the product through Oberlo, it's coming out. And what's cool about that is you can get cashback rewards. So if you have a credit card, you can get up to like 3% cashback rewards, which is pretty sweet. So you're basically accounting for inflation at that point. Inflation's usually around 3%, right? So something to keep in mind, once you get everything kind of set up with your bank, the only thing that I had to do really was send them my articles of incorporation, like the documents. They wanted to make sure that I actually was an LLC, not just creating it, and they would have put a hold on my account, so that's pretty important. Haven't had any issues other than that. And oh yeah, the last thing was insurance. So I mean, it kind of depends on what you guys are doing. If this is your first business and you're not bringing in too much revenue, you probably don't need to get insurance right off the bat. And basically what it does is it covers the business. So what happens is if somebody sues you, they'll come after your business's assets, right? Now, if your business has no assets, I mean, there's nothing that they can really do. You can basically declare bankruptcy on your business, and then you have to restart. But what insurance does, it kind of prevents that. It's a little buffer. So here's insurance, here's the person trying to sue you. If you don't have insurance, they go directly to you. If you have insurance, they go directly to that insurance, and your insurance will actually pay out the for personal damages or whatever it may be. So I would recommend that. It's a pretty cheap policy, like $50 a month, somewhere around there. A lot of companies do it. I would recommend State Farm for small business insurance. They are the number one, or the largest company at least. They've been around for like about 80 years, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, I mean, that's who I chose. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. If you have any other questions about this, I would strongly recommend not asking me. Go online, talk to Rocket Lawyer. They have certified professionals. Again, I am not a lawyer. Don't really know too much about this stuff, just kind of showing you some of my pitfalls and kind of some of the questions that I had. Don't rely on me for this advice, but that's pretty much it. So it's been fun. Keep in tune, and as always, hit subscribe. That's the like button. Hit the like button and hit subscribe, and that's pretty much it. You guys have a good rest of your day.